We are live. How's everybody doing? My name is Francisco Cantu. I'm happy to be here with you all. I am live on YouTube and Facebook. And today, as you already know, at the end of every month, we do here at Best College Aid Best College Aid, we do a monthly Q&A session. So throughout the next hour, I am going to be monitoring the chats on, again, both platforms, YouTube and Facebook, and I will be answering those questions. If you have been watching our videos for a while, you know that the last live stream, the last Monday of every month, we go ahead and we take questions from all of you and we answer them. So every week we do our live streams, right? Every week we do our weekly live streams in which we try to cover topics about everything related to the college admissions process. And we try to align them as much as possible with what is going on around the world of college admissions. So, for example, the week of October 15th, which was the earliest set of applications for early action. That week we went ahead and we covered everything you had to know before submitting an early action application. The weeks before an SAT or an ACT, we try to align our presentations with standardized testing presentations. However, at the end of every month, and as you know from watching all these presentations, there are questions that come up that might not necessarily be related to what we're talking about. So that is why we do this live streams on the last Monday of the month, and today is Monday, October 31st. It's Halloween, so happy Halloween. And as you can see, I have the ability on these live streams to share the questions on the screen. As you can see right now, we have Jenna Dean saying hi, and I'm sharing it on the screen. So if you want to start commenting or sharing where you're watching us from, whether you are a parent, whether you are a student, that's going to help us get started. And as the questions pile up towards later in the presentation, I'm going to be monitoring that chat and I will be sharing with you all those answers. So do let us know where you are watching from in the chat or whatever it is that you're wondering about the college admissions process. Again, if you are a parent, you can ask us questions about your student. You can tell us a little bit about your situation and we'll be more than happy, or I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. And if you're a student yourself and you're wondering about anything related to the process, whether you're wondering about those early action decision applications that are coming up in the next few weeks, whether you're wondering about SATs or ACTs, whatever it is that it may be you're wondering about, do go ahead and make use of that chat feature, because as I'm doing right now with Jenna Dean's comment, I can share it with the rest of the people watching this and hopefully answer to the best of my ability and help you all out on this process. Again, this is our way to give back. If you have watched some of our live streams in the past, you know that my siblings and I, we were blessed enough to go to college. Combined, we got over $600,000 in financial aid and scholarships. So we put together Best College Aid as a way to make accessible as much of the steps that we took and share that information with as many people as possible. So that is why I'm doing this live stream. As you can see also from my screen, I'm sharing a comment from Best College Aid saying, hello, everyone. Please let us know where you are joining from. And again, as you are commenting or as you are asking questions or as you are sharing a little bit about your situation, I'll be more than happy to share that with the rest of the people who are watching this presentation and make this as interactive and as helpful for all of you as possible. So while I wait for y'all to get settled, or maybe while you are typing those questions again on either the YouTube chat or the Facebook chat, I'm going to go ahead and do some housekeeping for those of you who are joining us for the first time. So first thing that I want to do is share with you all our handles for YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Why is that important? Because not only do we do these free live streams on YouTube and Facebook, we also do live streams on Tuesdays so tomorrow at 3 p.m. on our Instagram and TikTok accounts. As you can see from this slide, our weekly live stream calendar is Monday at 3 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook, which is what you're watching right now. And then on Tuesday at 3 p.m., we go live on Instagram and TikTok. And again, if you are a parent, which again, let me know in the chat, but if you're a parent, you know that the social media platforms that you use are different than the social media platforms that your student may use. So, younger people use TikTok and Instagram a little bit more. Unfortunately, we have a little bit of a shorter attention span. So we're very big fans of those shorter content, those shorter pieces of media, as opposed to YouTube and Facebook videos, which might be a little bit more of a longer format. So whatever the content that we decide to share, whether it's scholarships, whether it's important deadlines, we make sure that they fit to the respective platform that we're posting. So that is why it is in your best interest to go ahead and follow us across all of our social media platforms at Best College Aid USA across the board. Okay. And the next piece of housekeeping that I want to go over before we get started with the Q&A, again, if you have questions, you can start asking them right now. I see that they're piling up, but the next thing that I want to do before I hit the questions is talk to you all about the October. Yeah, so this is the slide that I'm sharing. Sorry, the presentation that will be today, live Q&A session. The last thing of piece of information that I want to share with you all is the free training, 6 steps to go to college with scholarships. The link is below this video. Hopefully I will answer as much of your questions as possible. However, if there are any questions after I go over the chats and start answering them, you might want to head to the URL below this video, because that will lead you to a presentation which we answer the 6 strategies to go to college with scholarships. And most of the information that we're going to be sharing there are, the pillars or the foundation of the college application journey. So it might be quicker for you to go ahead and register for that rather than to wait till the end of the month again to find answers to those questions you're wondering about. Again, that is if your question doesn't get answered today, which it definitely will, because in just a second I'll go ahead and head to the chat. I know Angelica, I see a comment there, and I'll get to it in a second. I just want to make sure that I share with everyone how to get access to this free presentation. So if you're watching us on YouTube, I'm going to share my screen real quick. On YouTube, you can see this is the video. This is the live stream that we're doing right now. Sorry, I muted it. I don't know if it was sounding double, but yeah, this is the live stream. And if you go to the description, show more, this is the link for the free presentation that you can just go ahead and register for, save your seat, put your information, and you'll be able to watch that presentation that I put together for you all. All right. But that is it. That is all I wanted to share before getting started with the questions. So now I'm going to go ahead and answer some of the questions that you've been asking. So the first one is Angelica, and this question is in Spanish. So I'm going to first read it in Spanish, translate it for all of our English speakers who are watching us right now. And I will go from there. I'll move on to the next questions after that. I do want to remind you that the Spanish live stream is at 1 p.m. If you can make that, there's also a recording there. But yeah, let me read your question and I'll answer it. Hola, mi hijo y yo creamos nuestras cuentas de FAFSA hace más de una semana, pero no hemos recibido ningún correo de confirmación. ¿Podremos llegar a una forma aún sin haber recibido el correo? So Angelica is asking, she's saying that they created their FSA ID a week ago, but that they have not received an email. And what I would do in that instance is, if you did not receive a confirmation email, first I would try to log in to the FAFSA with that FSA ID, even if you didn't receive a confirmation email. Put in the credentials that you made, see if you can log in. If you can log in, then fill out the questions, and then the FAFSA. And then if you cannot log in, that's when I would call the phone number. I would go to the department. Let me find the website exactly for you. FAFSA website. So I would go to studentaid.gov, and at the bottom of the page, you should find the phone number to call, and I would give them a call and ask them if there is something preventing you from signing in or from your FSA ID from being processed. And that would probably be the best step for you to go forward, right? And in case you need that answer in Spanish, I'll do it really quick. Lo que les recomiendo que hagan es que vayan al sitio de studentaid.gov, que traten de entrar a la cuenta de FAFSA, y aunque no les hayan confirmado por correo la cuenta, traten de ingresar. Si pueden ingresar, completen el FAFSA, y si no pueden, váyanse al bottom of the page, a la parte de abajo de la página de studentaid.gov, y llamen para darle los datos y que les ayuden de manera directa. All right. So that was the question, and hopefully that helped out. I know I had to switch a little bit back and forth in Spanish, but do know that we have, again, the 3 p.m. presentations are the English ones, and the 1 p.m. presentations are the Spanish ones, all right? But do keep those questions coming up. The next question that I wanted to share with you all that we have gotten is from Haley Stone, and Haley Stone is asking, what is the difference between a college and a university? All right. So the difference between a college and a university is nothing more than simply the fact that they offer different career opportunities and different certifications. So, for example, a college might be a smaller institution that does not have graduate programs, right? So for the most part, colleges only offered undergraduate degrees, and because of that, their student population is a little bit smaller, right? However, a university does provide graduate opportunities. So for example, my brother and sister, they went to Marist College, and Marist College was predominantly, a smaller private school in Poughkeepsie, New York, and the careers that they offer, or the degrees that they offered, were limited to an undergraduate degree. However, I went to the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, and because it was a university, the opportunities that were offered to students were not limited to just a bachelor's undergraduate degree, right? In the same university, students could pursue a graduate program. They could go to pharmaceutical school. They could go to a pharmacy school. They could pursue a master's in business administration. So they had all these different graduate opportunities that expand beyond just a regular 4 years bachelor's undergraduate degree. So that is the biggest difference between a college and a university. Again, because of the nature of offering more degrees or more certifications. Traditionally, universities are bigger than colleges, but again, the size could depend on the type of school. It could be a small university and a big college. Nonetheless, the biggest difference again has to do with the certifications and the programs that they offer. Graduate programs are usually a part of a university, whereas colleges are limited to just undergraduate degrees. But that's an excellent question. And even though this was not necessarily part of what you asked, I do want to say that it is important when you're making your list of 8 to 12 schools to keep an eye out for what you want to study and the type of degrees that you want to pursue. Because regardless of whether you're applying to a college or university, you want to make sure that the specific field of study that you want to pursue is offered by the institution you are attending, regardless of discriminating based on whether it's a college or a university. I would focus more on the field of study that you want to study and make sure that it's being offered by the institution in your list. All right. But that was an excellent question. I'm going to move on to the next question. And again, feel free to keep them coming on either the YouTube or the Facebook chats. Okay. So, next question. The next question is from Ricardo Arias saying, why are volunteer hours important? Can you give some examples of where and how to find opportunities? Great question. Why are hours important? Simply because of the fact that whenever you have a admissions officer evaluating you or your student's college application, they want to get a holistic view of what you spend your time doing during your 4 years of high school, right? And if you manage to spend your free time, or you've fulfilled your necessary volunteer hours that were set by your high school or by your district in order to go ahead and graduate, if you manage to align those activities with the field of study that you want to pursue, this is an asset that the university looks for, and that tells those admissions officers that you are a strong candidate with clear goals. So for example, if you want to study biology and you spent your free time interning at a lab, or working as an assistant for some sort of I don't know, pharmaceutical intern, or working for a doctor, whatever the activity or the volunteer hours that you did, if they manage to align with the field of study that you want to pursue, well, there's a strong indication that you are serious about that particular field of study. So it's something that admissions officers view very favorably. All right. And why does it matter, or why do you need to complete them? Well, for the most part, not necessarily for college, but at the high school level, it might be necessary to complete these volunteer hours in order to graduate. All right. And then where can I find opportunities? See, I always recommend our students to go ahead and ask the high school counselor, the free advisor that they have at their high school, just because they might be connected with opportunities that are offered through the school. However, if your school does not offer any opportunities, then I would pivot towards your extracurricular activities. I know in my experience, being a swimmer my whole life, I know that there were a lot of local swim meets that required people to volunteer as timers or people to volunteer as I volunteer for a program with Special Olympics, and I used to be an assistant coach or an assistant trainer for participants or athletes who were participating in Special Olympics. And I found out about that opportunity through my swimming, not program, but my club, my swim club. So if your student participates in any extracurricular activities, maybe asking coaches or maybe asking instructors or asking people involved in that extracurricular activity, could be a good starting point. All right. Excellent question. All right, going to back to the chat, we see that Jenna Dean is asking when is the best time to talk to teachers about recommendation letters. That is an excellent question. And one of the biggest mistakes that students can make is to wait until the very last minute to ask their professors, their teachers, their coaches, whoever it is that they're asking for an for a letter of recommendation. It is usually in your best interest to ask as early as possible, and you have to work backwards from the deadline of the application. So let's say that you're applying to a very early action deadline. So the early action deadline of October 15th, you do not want to wait until October 14th to ask your teacher, your professor, or whoever it is for a recommendation letter. I would advise, as a rule of thumb, to try to give them as close to 2 weeks as possible to write that letter. So at the beginning of October, that would have been a great time to ask them. If you have deadlines coming up, maybe January 1st, January 15th, then I would advise you to work backwards and at the very latest tell them 2 weeks in advance, unless like a very last minute type of decision. It is just courteous to ask them with time so that they don't have to rush, and it is also in your best interest because you do not want them to write a rushed recommendation letter that may not necessarily give them the opportunity to really talk about what makes you unique or why you're such a great applicant. All right, so 2 weeks should be a good rule of thumb, but the earlier the better. All right, great question, Jenna Dean. Moving on to the next set of questions, we have Joe Giardino saying, what chances does a student with a 3.2 GPA have of getting into a good college? That is an excellent question. What I recommend, or what we teach our students since I best college aid, is that whenever they are applying to a school, not one GPA will be the same level of competitive as the same GPA, but for a different school, right? So where you are applying determines whether or not a 3.2 GPA or a 4.0 GPA or whatever GPA that it is competitive or not. So with a 3.2 GPA, what I would recommend is making a list of schools, of reach, target, and safety schools, which pretty much you see how your GPA, your 3.2, stacks up against the latest admitted students class. And if you see that the average student at a certain university in your list is their GPA is a 3.0, then you know that that is somewhat of a safety or target school because you're at or a little bit above that GPA, right? But if you're applying to a school whose average GPA is at 3.5, then you know that will be very much a reach school. So then you would have to look into factors such as how much they consider extracurricular activities, essay writing, and any other aspect of your application. All right, so it all depends on what schools you're applying to. I always recommend looking at the admission statistics of the latest admitted students class, because that will give you an idea of how you stack up against the average student at said university, and it will help you categorize each school and put them in the right buckets of reach, target, and safety schools. Excellent question, Joe. Next question that we have. So the next question that we have right here is Amanda Walsh. Amanda Walsh is asking, what advice do you have for middle school students? So the best piece of advice, or the, I guess, the number one thing that I recommend for middle school students is to work backwards and to know sort of where they want to end up and then reverse engineer a plan. So let's say that by the time you graduate high school, you don't necessarily have to know where you're going to college or your GPA, what it's going to be, but maybe you know that you want to have some college credits, under your belt by the time you graduate high school, so you can graduate college a little bit earlier, or you can double major. Well, because you know that that's the end goal, you can work backwards and determine, okay, well, if I want to take some AP calculus classes or AP stats or whatever class might be, you work backwards and you realize, okay, to take that AP Calc class, I have to take first, I have to take pre-calculus, then I have to take algebra 2, but before that I have to take geometry, and before that I have to take algebra 1, and before that I have to take pre-algebra. All of a sudden you are looking at what classes you should take in 7th or 8th grade, whether those be pre-algebra or whether that be algebra 1, whatever it is offered by your school. But because you work backwards, you know what you have to do as early as middle school. Another piece of advice that I have for our middle school students is to use those foundation years, those first few years of middle school as an exploration period to just have fun, realize what classes you excel at, what classes you're good at, what classes you might struggle a little bit with. Why? Because when you're in middle school, unless you go out of your way to take high school level classes, you have the opportunity to learn from trial and error. And if you realize that you're not good at your middle school science class, or that you excel at your middle school history classes, you can get an idea of what classes, advanced level classes, you can take in high school. You can also learn how to study or how to become a better learner while you are in middle school. And then by the time you get to high school, you know what works and what doesn't work for you. This is the same case with extracurricular activities. If you try as many extracurriculars as possible while you're in middle school, you will realize, okay, I don't like playing the flute, but I love playing soccer. Boom. All of a sudden, you have something that you can stick for during the 4 years of high school. And that's something we've talked about in previous lessons, and that it's in the free presentation that you can register for in the link in bio, is the extracurricular activities that colleges care the most about. And pretty much the bottom line of that piece of content that we share is that colleges care about leadership and duration in extracurricular activities. And if you go ahead and start something as early as middle school, or by the time you're in middle school, you weed out all the activities you won't do, you'll only be left with activities that you do care about that can demonstrate duration because you stuck with them since middle school or since freshman year of high school. So I would say those are my piece of advice for middle schoolers. So just to summarize everything, reverse engineer your classes so you know what classes you should be taking as early as possible. And then try as early as possible to identify what you excel at and what you don't excel at, so you can get an idea of where you'll have to work harder and where you can take advanced level classes. And the third and final piece of advice for my middle schoolers is to go ahead and weed out the activities, the extracurricular activities that they don't want, so that by the time they start high school, you can stick to those extracurriculars that you do care about, and you can demonstrate duration and commitment to an activity throughout as many years of high schools as possible. All right, excellent question. I know I went on a long tangent, but I think all of those pieces of information will be very beneficial to you, Amanda. Okay. All right. Next question. Dragon Forever 2.0 is asking, can you add more than 10 colleges to my FAFSA? My son is applying to 12 schools. Yeah, so one can definitely submit the FAFSA for more than 10 schools. However, the application itself only allows a student to send the FAFSA, or to submit the FAFSA for 10 schools. So here is the process of how you would go about sending your FAFSA information to more than 10 schools. So first, you would fill out the FAFSA and you will send it to the 10 colleges that have the earliest deadlines, right? So you're applying early action to a specific school. Then you know that those early action or early decision applications, you have to send out the FAFSA to those schools. Let's just think about early action for now, right? So you send that to all the schools that you're applying early action to, and whatever other regular decision universities you will be applying to. However, let's say that you also apply to 3 more schools, so 10 in total, right? Well, a few days after you submit the FAFSA, you should receive an SAR notification letting you know that the FAFSA has been processed. And once you receive that information saying that your FAFSA has been processed at a specific school, you can then log back into the FAFSA portal, manually remove the school as one of the schools that you were going to send that to, and then replace those schools that already received your FAFSA information with the remainder schools, like school number 11, 12, and 13th on your list. That way, by the time that all those deadlines are as early as possible. All schools should have, all 13 schools should receive that information. And again, you do that by manually removing the schools that have already received the FAFSA information and replacing them with the schools that did not apply, that did not receive the FAFSA information. And again, you want to do this first, sending the information to schools with earlier deadlines, and then leaving those last three schools that you're going to replace into your FAFSA portal. Usually, you want to leave those up for the later dates. Okay, that if that makes sense. I hope I know it was a little bit confusing, but pretty much just replace the later dates or the later schools with schools that have already received that information. Let me know if you have any questions and if I explained that properly for you all. All right, let's see. Next question. Susie Adams. Do colleges look at middle school grades? I didn't start doing well until my ninth grade. Excellent question. So, more than whether or not schools look at your middle school grades, it's a matter of whether or not colleges look at high school level classes. So, while you are in middle school, some students or some schools do offer the opportunity for their students to take high school level classes. And if you do take advantage of that opportunity to take high school level classes while in middle school, those will certainly be part of the transcripts that once you apply to college will be sent to the colleges as part of your application. That is why if you are a middle school student taking, I don't know, pre-algebra at a high school level, then I would very much recommend that you prioritize getting good grades on that pre-algebra high school level class while you're in middle school, because that one will count towards your high school GPA. So if you're only taking middle school level classes while in middle school, then you don't have to worry about colleges seeing those grades. I would make sure you consult this with your middle school advisor and just double check that you are or are not taking high school level classes while in middle school. And then if you are, go ahead and prioritize getting as good grades as you can in those classes. And even if they're not high school level classes, I would still recommend that you learn how to study and how to prepare, because learning how to learn will be very beneficial once you get to high school and college, and it will only help you develop those study habits that will make you excel in the classroom. All right, so that's an excellent question. And as I mentioned in the previous question that I answered, it's always good to reverse engineer where you want to end up. So what AP class you want to take late in high school, work backwards to make sure that you satisfy the requirements that are necessary for those while you're still in middle school. All right. Excellent question, Susie. Next up, actually, I'm going to take a little bit of a coffee break, but the next question, and again, keep them coming. The chats are open on both YouTube and Facebook if you have any questions to your specific situation. But the next question that I wanted to answer today is from Jasmine. Jasmine is asking, my high school does not offer AP classes. Instead, they offer IB courses. Do colleges prefer one over the other? Great question. Not all high schools offer the same type of classes. Some high schools only offer APs, others only offer IB program, others offer dual enrollment courses, and this is something that we go into further depth inside the presentation that's in the link in bio. However, I do want to answer this question by simply saying that colleges don't necessarily have a preference over the other per se. It's more a matter of what you do with these classes, how you perform at them. So whether or not, if you're taking AP classes, which I know you're saying your school doesn't offer, but if a student's taking AP classes, how do they perform in those courses and how does that affect their weighted GPA? Obviously, the harder the class, the more benefits or the higher ceiling a weighted GPA has. However, you want to consider that, and you want to consider what you have to do in order to receive those college credits. So I know that you say that you're taking IB courses. Good. Make sure that you do well in the class itself so you get the GPA benefits, and on the exam at the end of the year so that you satisfy the program. And if you're taking AP classes, do well in the class to benefit the GPA, and do well in the AP exam so that you can get those college credits. So no matter which one you end up taking, your your resume will look good as long as you perform well on these classes. If you, however, are taking dual enrollment classes, you don't necessarily have to worry about passing any sort of exam at the end of the year in order to receive those college credits. You only have to worry about passing the class, and you can earn college credits. So with those with dual enrollment courses, I know you're not asking about this, but for all those who are enrolled or are interested in enrolling in dual enrollment courses, I do recommend that you try your hardest to get that good grade, because not only is that just enough of what you need to get those college credits, but it demonstrates to colleges that you can thrive in a college environment even if you did it at a younger age in high school. So I know it might not be a very satisfying answer to say, yeah, APs are better than IBs or IBs are better than APs. It's really, there's not science to it. It's just doing well in whatever it is that you end up taking. That's the best piece of advice. Great question. And I see that there's one more question. So I'm going to take a second before I answer it. And as I invite you all to keep on asking questions, because I'm reaching the last one that I see that I have not answered. I'm going to go ahead and answer it soon, but I do want to invite you one last time. If you have not already done so, you can see I'm sharing my screen right now. And if you're watching us on YouTube, that's me. It's a little meta, but if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, well, this is the YouTube screen, what it looks like. If you scroll down here to the description, you can see the link for the free training. You go ahead and you click it, and you can register for the 6 strategies to go to college with scholarships. This is a presentation that I worked on, so I wrote the script. I recorded it. I was the talent behind the words being spoken, and I put the presentation together. David and Laura were the ones who edited it, and we finished doing this latest presentation a couple of weeks ago, so it's fresh off the oven, and it's a lot of value packed into there. It's completely free. In the spirit of transparency, we do have an offer for the full-blown paid program, the Best College Aid program, for those of you who are enjoying these Q&A sessions, who enjoy that free presentation, who enjoy the way that we explain things. We do offer the membership and explain all the pricing and explain the discount that we offer for those of you who watched that presentation. So I just wanted to go ahead and let you know that that's a resource that's available out there for students and for parents. You don't have to join the full Best College Aid program for me to keep on doing these live streams, or for me to once a month do these Q&A sessions. I will continue to put as much diligence and care into providing this information for you all, regardless of whether you decide or not to join the Best College Aid program. However, these Q&A sessions are only once a month. And if you are a member of the Best College Aid program, on top of all the benefits which are included within the membership, which is the over 80 lessons in our online course, unlimited access to support and questions from me and the rest of our advisors, discounts with Dell Technologies, so computers. We also have a free Kaplan Test Prep Plus package that we gift our students so that they can prepare for the ACT. We also have access to resources, free studying resources for the SAT. We have other sorts of discounts, and again, all that is included with the Best College Aid membership. Again, no strings attached. You can just go ahead and click that free presentation, the link in bio. And if after that, after watching everything we're all about, you're interested, you can decide whether or not you would like to join. All right. That's the last thing I wanted to answer before I went ahead and answer this final question that I have here in the chat. And the final question that I got asked is from Nicole, and Nicole is asking, do you have any advice for college interviews? My son has one in mid-November. Great question. Yes, I do have some advice for students who are preparing for their college interviews. I would say the bottom line, and I'm going to go on a rant and talk more about other pieces of advice later on, but the bottom line is to be intentional about what your answers are and why you are choosing that school. One of the recurring themes that you will be asked about, or that your student will be asked about, is why a specific institution is on their list, why they're applying, why they should be considered. how can a student contribute to the university and how the university contributes to a student's set of goals. So having a very clear vision, a very specific program, classes, professor, a purpose as to why that university is part of their final list of colleges is crucial. Knowing that you're applying to university XYZ because of their specific, I don't know, Peace War and Defense program, or their film school, or they have a professor in the business school who teaches an entrepreneurship class that you are dying to take, or whether it is because they have the best, I don't know, chemistry lab in the whole country, or because they have the best, physics engineering program, whatever it is, you have to know why, and your students should be ready to answer concretely and contribute and inform the interviewer why that specific university is in their list and why it stands out from all other thousands and thousands of universities available to the students. All right. So that is probably the bottom line. That's probably the biggest thing and the best thing your student can do is be very intentional with their answers and with the reason behind why they are choosing to apply to this school. All right. So I'm going to invite you all to ask any final questions you have. I will be keeping an eye out on the chat. I did want to, however, go ahead and share with you all that we are having a special Halloween sale that ends tonight. So if you've watched all the way up until this point of the presentation, you know that I've been answering for the last 35 minutes, and I will continue to answer questions all the way until 3:45. However, you know that I've been answering all these questions and that I do this Q&As once a month, but this free weekly live stream once a week about all things college admissions. And if you're interested in learning more, go ahead and click the link in bio that is below this video on YouTube and next to this video on Facebook. And then you'll be able to watch our free presentation on the 6 strategies to go to college with scholarships. And if after watching that presentation, you are more interested in learning even more ways in which you can capitalize off this early action, early decision, the ways in which you can fill out the FAFSA, the CSS profile correctly and in a timely manner that will allow your students to qualify for tens of thousands of dollars in institutional, private, state, and federal scholarships, then I very much encourage you all to watch that presentation. And again, if you enjoy my teaching style, if you enjoy the way I explain things, if you're interested in helping your student, go ahead and consider joining the full Best College Aid program. There is a 14-day money-back guarantee, so there's really no risk. You can decide to join the program and enjoy all the benefits. You can enjoy our unlimited advising from me and the rest of the counselors. You can enjoy all of our video tutorials. You can enjoy access to our private community. You can enjoy a free Kaplan ACT Test Prep Plus membership for free, no additional cost to your Best College Aid membership. You can enjoy special Dell Technologies discounts on computer equipment and other sorts of technologies. All that is included for you with the Best College Aid membership. And again, at the end of the day, if before the 14th day is up, you'd realize that it's not something you are interested in, guess what? You can get your money back. And again, that money will be very little compared to the full sticker price if you decide to join today, because we are having a special Halloween sale that ends tonight at 11:59. And I did want to again equip you all with this information. You can ultimately make your own decision. My feelings won't be hurt. I will be back here next week regardless of whether or not you decide to join. But in case I do have the opportunity to provide value to you or to your students' college admissions journey, then this is me doing that effort to hopefully be put in front of your screens for a reason, for the algorithm, and maybe you can get some value out of it and consider joining the Best College Aid program. So once again, if you are interested in joining Best College Aid, you can go ahead and click the link that is under this YouTube video that says first show more, and then click the link in the description and it will ask you to register for that free training. And at the end of the free training, we have that special Halloween sale that ends tonight at midnight. All right. So go ahead and consider that. And I think that's it as far as housekeeping things that I wanted to do. I wanted to cover. I also don't see any further questions on the chat for me to answer. So the last thing I want to do is remind you all that I will be back on Instagram and TikTok tomorrow at 3 p.m. to do more of a Q&A session. Maybe you are a parent and you want your student to watch these or to ask questions themselves. Maybe they're not much of a YouTube or Facebook user, so they might be more comfortable joining the TikTok or the Instagram live stream that we'll be having tomorrow. Again, completely free. Just follow us at Best Coach Aid USA, and you'll be able to see those live streams on TikTok and Instagram. That's all the answers that I had because those were all the questions that I received. So thank you so much for paying attention to me and joining along this live stream presentation. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out and do check out that free presentation. Hopefully it gives you all value and you can take advantage of this Halloween sale that ends tonight at 11:59 p.m. I'm Francisco Cantu, and I'll see you all next week. Thank you so much, y'all.